Morvid Collective.
What's up, all you horror movie loving fuckers? Welcome back to another episode of Fright Flick FMK. As always, I am your host, Jay, and as always, I am joined once again by my delicious co host, the gentleman in Jack. And let me get 1 second for a pause, please. That's my gentleman in Jack break right out the gate. Thank you very much. Hey, welcome back to another episode, another week down. Hope everybody's had a good week. It's been a pretty chill week. Pretty slow week for me, actually. Didn't have a whole lot going on this week, which I like. It's preparing me for my retired life. Only got about a little less than 2 years, and I am living the retired life. So looking forward to it. So this has been a pretty easy week. Hope everybody else can say the same thing. If you're listening to this, that means it's Friday, motherfuckers. We made it. The week's over. So what better way to go into the weekend than getting to listen to another episode of Fright Flick FMK, where we watch the horror movies, and we're going to let you know if we'd rather fuck it, marry it, or kill it. And I don't like to do a lot of shit on the housekeeping side. Everything's in the bio as far as like the about the movie, and the underneath it, the description, you'll see the links to the websites, the social media sites. So feel free to scroll down, check those things out. And I'm not going to waste y'all's time with all that. But if you're new to the show, if you've accidentally came across this some odd way, and you're wondering like, what the fuck, you fuck, marry, kill, what's all that about? I rate the horror movies. Marrying it be the best. Fucking it, that's the friends will benefit, the one night stand type thing. Every now, not a one night stand, but every now and then, friends will benefit. Y'all know what it is. The kills your one night stand. The kill's the fucking sea donkey, and you don't ever want to see it again. So that's how we do these things. And but yeah, that's it for the housekeeping. Like I said, I don't like to spend a lot of time on it. Just scroll down in the description of the podcast wherever you're watching or listening to this, and you'll see the links. But this week I decided to go with a little something newer. And I don't, I do newer stuff, and a lot of times the newer stuff I grab is like, I'm a big fan of like Shudder and Tubi and stuff like that. Newer stuff that's been in the theater recently, I'll catch every now and then. And I came across one this week that I'd seen. I haven't even watched any trailers on it. I'd seen the name of it, and I'd seen like pictures of it, through social media and stuff like that. But I haven't sat down and watched a trailer or anything of it. And so last night, this is how I go without a plan. I have no plan. I don't know week to week what show I'm doing most of the time. And so last night, because if you're listening to this on Friday, I'm recording this. What's today's date? Fucking, it's Tuesday. So this is Tuesday. I just decided yesterday on Monday that I was going to do this. And if you've listened to some episodes before, I've talked about it before. Amazon, they get me. Amazon gets me. They will throw up the little, you can rent the newer movies, rent or buy. Well, then I came across this one on the the early home release thing that Amazon does, and you got to buy the movie. And so like always, when Amazon gets me, they show me one, I just buy it because I can rent it for, a few dollars less, or I could spend a few dollars more and just own it. Whatever. Has it bitten me in the ass before? Yes, I have bought some and watched them, and they were some good old fashioned kills that I never want to see again. But I got it. But for this one, I came across it, and even after I seen it, I didn't watch no trailers on it. I just seen it was new. And I like the name of it. It kind of jumped out at me because I heard it growing up. So this week, I'm going to cover a 2023 American supernatural horror film, The Boogeyman. And that name, I like that name. And if you, I don't know how it is nowadays in today's generation. I'm an older. I'm a Gen X, 70s baby. Grew up in the 80s. You know, we heard the name Boogeyman. That was some shit that, like I said, it scared you. Like the boogeyman's in the closet, the boogeyman this. It was a scary thing. Like something was gonna fucking kill you. Hold on one second. I got a little itch in my throat. I know what can cure it though. Hold on one second. That's that gentleman and Jack right there. But so yeah, this one on Amazon, I kind of seen it, seen the title. I was like, oh, the Boogeyman, and I've came across it, and so I decided like literally last night that I was going to watch this and do a show on it this week, something new. Um, I don't ever have, and I mentioned earlier, I never have a plan. My shows will be all over the place. I'll do some that's older. I will do some that's, you know, not really heard of. I do a lot. I like a lot of the like more underground. I like a lot of the extreme horror. It's just whatever seems to tickle my fancy that particular day. I'm looking for something to do. Um, so I'm not one of those that will ever be able to post up on the social media of what's coming next week or what's coming the week after because I don't operate that way. I don't have a plan. It's a shoot from the hip, just send it type thing. And I will, like this week's after this show goes up, I will spend the weekend looking through some movies. And if something jumps out at me and I decide that I want to check it out, then that's what I may be doing next week. So no real plans. But so I can't tell you what's coming next week. I will probably figure it out over the weekend and I'll push it out on social media or something what I plan on doing. But so yeah, we're just gonna jump into this one and kind of give you a little storyline of where this movie, how it's the layout of it. This one's gonna take place. We're gonna have and spoiler alert, I will spoil it. I know it's new, and so I'm going to spoil it. And so if you one of those that don't want spoilers, then you might want to hold up on listening, check the movie out, and then come back and listen. But I'm definitely gonna spoil the shit out of it. And but kind of the story that this one is, we got us a family. We got a dad and two daughters. Their mother has passed away in a car accident. So they're adjusting to that life. And their dad is a therapist. And at some point, the therapist has a random person show up in his office one day, basically claiming that something happened to his daughters, just something dark. And then it just kind of goes into that. It's just, and I want to get into it as I start talking about the movie because I want to kind of go through the whole thing. But the overall story of this thing was really good. I like the layout of it. I like the flow of it. Um, I like the build up moments in it. Um, you know how certain movies, horror movies especially, that they know exactly when to hit you with that moment that the music hits or a scream hits or just it gives you that jump scare moment that like, oh shit. And this one nailed it perfectly. Perfectly. I think that's right. My southern accent, that's how it comes out sometime, but it could be the gentleman also, because speaking of the gentleman, give me 1 second. That's another gentleman break. Thank you. I know that's a lot early on, but it's okay. It's okay. And so this movie, The Boogeyman 2023, was directed by Rob Savage. Rob Savage. It was based off the 1973 short story based on the same name by Stephen King. And unless you've been under a fucking rock somewhere all your life, you know who the fuck Stephen King is. And so this one, I was looking up some stuff on it right before I watched it, and it just came out, like I said, it just came out this year, but this thing was originally set to kick off, and like it was announced in like I think 2018, and then it was canceled in 2019. And I read it was about the whole like Disney and Fox type shit. I don't understand all that crap, but so then it was brought back up in 2021. This whole thing filming kicked off in like February 2022 in New Orleans. New Orleans. I spent a few years there in the military, but almost 6 years down there in New Orleans. I think that's where some of my fast talking and twang comes from. But it was released here. I think it was like in June, 1st of June or some shit like that here in the States. But so now that I've kind of gotten that out of the way, now this is where I'm going to start getting into how this movie flows. And I kind of go from beginning to end and talk about how it goes throughout the movie. I don't really take a lot of notes while I watch movies. I'm not one of those that, you know, uh I don't get I'm not an in-depth person. I'm not a smart person. I'm a high school diploma person that just loves watching horror movies and just talks about it at a a 12th grade level. No college here, people. And so when I watch movies, I don't dig into a lot of like, oh, what was this person feeling during this? I don't really get into that. That's not my that's not my bag, baby. It's not my cup of tea. I just like to watch them. I like to talk about it. And I'm just gonna talk about it the same way I would if I was just sitting there drinking a drink with you right now, having a gentleman and Jack across the table, just shooting the shit about this movie. And that's what I'm about to do. Right before I do it, though, you know what's coming. Hold on one second. That's the gentleman and Jack. I know you hear that ice. I know you hear that ice. I like it chill. So we're gonna jump right into this thing now. When the Boogeyman kicks off, it's going to we're in a room in a house, like the nursery, like the baby's room. We got us a little baby in a crib. I think it's a little girl. I'm not really sure. In a crib. And so while she's laying in this crib, the camera kind of coming around. Well, next thing you know, the closet door in this in this room kind of cracks open a little bit. And you hear this like kind of growling voice, and it calls her name. I think the little girl's name, I think, was Annie. And you hear it make this growling name, calls her name. And the little baby kind of wakes up. It's not a newborn baby. It's still in the crib. I don't really understand baby age, and I don't understand when they in the crib, when they out the crib type shit very well. But this one was still in the crib, old enough to pull herself up, to kind of be looking around type thing, I think. But so you got the growling noise. Closet door opens, and you see a little shadow coming across the way. And then it says, you hear the voice. This little creepy fucker says, "Let me hold you." And instantly, right then, let me go ahead. Right then, there's certain things in a movie where it kind of gives you the willies. The willies, if you don't know what that means, that's a South Carolina. That's where I was born and raised, South Carolina. That's a little bit of Southern talk for you. When you get a little uneasy feeling, it gives you the willies, and so that's what that word means for people who don't know. When I say it give you the willies, that's what that is. But as soon as it said it, I was just like, oh fuck, it's creepy. Cause it's not fucking mommy, it's not fucking daddy. It's just thing that came out of the closet. And it's just like, let me hold you. And it's talking to the baby. And it's like, it's okay, it's just me. And then he says it in this kind of like really more like deep growling, like, it's your daddy. But it wasn't her daddy, people. But it was this fucking demonic growling sound. And he's like, it's me. And then all of a sudden you see, like, you never see it, but off to the side, there's like a picture frame, like a little family picture. And you see some blood splash up on the damn picture frame, which told me that whatever that came out of that closet just killed baby Annie. Now, I myself, I know not everybody is. I am a fan of movies that is not afraid to let the fucking kids get it too. It's a movie. It's real. I got it. Some people don't like that. They don't like it when the kids are involved. Some people don't like it when animals are involved. I'm not one of those people. I appreciate a movie that will fuck them kids up too. That's just me. So as soon as I seen it, blood splashes. I already had my little willies. I had the willies when he made that little sound, and then I seen it. It doesn't show you anything. You don't see nothing happen to the baby Annie. It's just that it lets you know, like, baby Annie is no longer with us. Blood splashes on some mirrors. And then it kind of gives you the title, the Boogeyman. And right out the gate, it's got my attention now because you've already shown us that the kids are not off limits in this, people. And you kind of knew that with the name the Boogeyman because that's a kid thing. That's kind of like kids hear that. I don't know nowadays, but I did. Like, you hear the Boogeyman, that was that little scary motherfucker, wherever it may be. Oh, the Boogeyman's going to get you. So it already had my attention because baby Andy got fucked up. Now, after the title, we got Sadie is the daughter. And hold on one second. I want to give the cast their credits. I do have this pulled up. Sadie Harper is the name. Sadie Harper is the teenage daughter. Sadie looks to be, I don't think she's driving. She might be 14, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. So Sadie is played by Sophie Thatcher. And I looked her up. She actually plays on that new popular show, and I've watched a few episodes of it, and I need to get back on it. But the Yellow Jackets, she plays in that TV show. And so Sadie Harper, played by Sophie Thatcher. Will Harper is the dad. I told you there was a dad and two daughters whose mom passed away. So played by Kris Messina. Then we got Sawyer Harper, who is the youngest sister. Looks to be, I don't do well with ages. I don't know how to look at them and be like, oh, they look about that age. I don't really know I don't do that very well. So she might have been, I don't know, 7, 8, maybe. I'm not really sure. But she's played by Vivian Blair. There's a middle name on there, but I can't pronounce it. And if y'all been around more than a day, y'all know I don't do well with pronouncing names that are real fancy. So Vivian Blair, she plays Sawyer Harper. So we got those, the dad, the two sisters, the two daughters. Sadie's the oldest, Sawyer's the youngest, Will's the daddy. So after the title and all that with baby Annie goes down, it jumps to, we got Sadie, who is the teenager. She's walking into a room. And like I did see that, you can tell when she's walking in that it's like an older person's room. And so when I'm watching it, and I did read like the description before I watched it. And I remember one of the ones I read was talking about her mother passed away. So I took this as, okay, she's in her mom's room. This is after mom has passed away. And so she's kind of looking around. Mom was like an artist. She did a lot of like paintings and stuff like that. So Sadie goes up to like a closet and like a little armoire. Armoire? Is that how you say that shit, family? I think so. But she opens it up and she's looking at some of the clothes and she pulls out a dress and she like smells the clothes, and smells it and kind of like takes it and she just walks out the room with the dress. And you see like there's a painting of the family, the mom, the two daughters, and the dad. And it's like a little one that she had painted, I'm assuming. And so she kind of walks out. And I think this one must have been like morning time or something like that because it shows the younger sister, Sawyer. It shows her waking up. And then she's got like, she sleeps with like this light up globe. It's like a round globe. It just lights up. It's like a little night light, but it's a round, she carried around with her. Sleeps in the bed with it. Well, she's kind of tossing and turning, about to wake up. Alarm is going off. The ball falls. The little light up ball falls off the bed. That kind of wakes her up. Same time the alarm's going off. And and when she gets up and she kind of looks over at the closet is open. And the way she looks at it, you instantly think it makes you think that has she already kind of experienced something with this closet? Because you seen the closet in the beginning, but it makes you wonder, like, well, she's kind of looking at it like she's suspect of this closet. So she takes her little globe and she just kind of rolls it, kicks it. She kicks it into the closet, and then it is what it is. It kind of goes away. And the dad is downstairs. He's finishing up a session he has with one of his patients. He is a therapist. I don't know exactly what kind of therapist. I just know he's a therapist. The office is right there in the house. He's in there and finishing up one of his clients, customers. I don't know how you word that in medical terms, but patients maybe. And he sees like a little shadow outside of the door, and he kind of makes a comment like, "Hey, we need to wrap this. We can wrap this up. I gotta take my girl's first day of school. It's been a month, so apparently this is all like about a month after their mother passed away. Mother passed away in a car accident. It doesn't really get this movie will not give you any details on the car accident or how any of that goes. You don't see none of that, or they don't really talk about it. I just know it's a car accident. That's all I know. And so he wraps up his little session with his patient / client customer, and basically like, hey, we gotta get my girls off to school. And so he's got the little girl getting her out the door, getting her to take her back to school. And then Sadie comes downstairs. Sadie's got that dress on that she took out of the little armoire, like before, like it was her mother's dress, like this orange red flower dress, whatever. And so when she comes downstairs, Darius kind of looked at her, and Dad kind of knows. And he said, but they basically tells her she looks beautiful and all that good stuff. What a fucking dad should do. And so he takes him off to school. And hold on one second, gentleman and Jack. I don't know what it is. I got this little itch in my throat, can't get rid of it. Dry throat. So he takes him to school, drops Sadie off at high school. Yeah, I'm assuming high school. And when this is going, it had to be hard on Sadie going back to school after this time. Everybody knows, it's probably a smaller town. Maybe everybody knows your business when some shit goes down, like your mother passed away. Everybody knows. So she has to show back up after being away from dealing with her mom passing away. Now you got to show up to school. You know how people are. They get that whole like, oh, sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss. And she's having to walk down the halls and hear all this. And, she's just trying to move on. She's trying to do the best she can to move on. But when the people keep coming up to her and just like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm just like, damn, maybe she just wants to be normal. Like maybe she just, and she did. You could tell she just wanted a normal day at school, to be able to go to school and just be normal again, be a fucking teenager again. But she's got people coming up to her and talking to her, and I can't even imagine. My mom passed away, but I was older. I wasn't in school, and so when I don't know, and this is just a moment, a little pause, to where I got to kind of speak my mind, but there's just I don't know. There's not a rule book out there for when somebody passes away and the way you're supposed to talk and the thing you're supposed to say. There's not a rule book to it. So it is kind of awkward, I guess, for people who don't know what to say. They don't know how to talk to you. And, but God, I would just think that I just want it to be normal, I don't want to hear, how many times I got to hear sorry for your loss. I never want to hear, oh, I know how you feel type shit. That's just one of the lines I don't like. But so she's first day back right out of the gate, and she goes up to her locker, and this is where I really felt bad for her. She goes to her locker. She opens up her locker. She's been away for right at a month now, I think. And she opens up her locker, and what does she find when she opens up the locker? If anybody, a lot of parents out there, I know you pack your kids' lunch for school. Not everybody goes to school with a fucking meal card and eats the lunchroom cafeteria food and balls out like that. Some people get a fucking brown bag with a bologna and cheese sandwich with a bag of chips in it, and that's your lunch. And our girl Sadie here opens up her locker, brown bag. Mom wrote her a note on it. Note, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it had a note on it. And instantly when I seen that brown bag, I was talking to myself. I was watching it. I was watching by myself, and I was kind of like, "Well, oh fuck, her just the last lunch her mama made her, before she passed away." And she kind of opens it up, and of course the shit, whatever, I don't know what it was. It was spoiled, it was been in there for a month, rotten, whatever, in her locker. So she's standing there, and yes, they feel even you feel bad for her, because like I said, she's already having to come back to school, and now she's got the last lunch her mama made her in this brown bag. And her friend comes up to her. Bethany is the friend. Bethany, did I jot down who the fuck Bethany was? Bethany's played by Madison Hugh. H-U. I think you say it Hugh. I'm going to say it that way. Madison Hugh, her BFF. So-called BFF. You'll find out later why I say so-called. But she comes up to her, starts talking to her. And she just kind of talks to her normal. She talks to her not about like, oh, sorry for your loss. She's just talking to her. And Sadie makes a comment like, thank you for kind of like just talking to me like normal. Like, she didn't need to hear I'm sorry for your loss. She just wanted somebody to talk to her like a person, like back to school, a teenager. And so, well, then Bethany's got these other girl hangout group with her, a few other friends. Well, then we got the one where I could look her name up. And will I look her name up? I don't even know if I'm not even going to look her name up, because I don't even she's going to be the blonde bitch. That's what I'm going to call her. The blonde bitch in this movie. The blonde bitch looks at her, and she's like, somebody asked her about her dress. And somebody makes a comment like, oh, I like your dress. I don't know if I'd have that style or that confidence to wear that type of dress. I don't know how it exactly went down. And Sadie's like, oh, thank you. This is my mom's dress. Now, the blonde bitch makes a comment to her like, why are you wearing her dress? Won't that make it harder for you to move on? And then Sadie's like, well, I don't want to move on. And just the fact, the way she said it, like, why are you wearing that dress type shit? Fuck you, blonde bitch. Well, then her and old blonde bitch, and Sadie get into a little back and forth. And the blonde bitch pushes Sadie up against the locker. And when she pushes her, that she was holding that brown bag, the last lunch her mama made her. She pushed her. And when she pushed her, she was holding that bag. So when she pushed her, the bag kind of smashed. All that rotten, juicy, moist food in that bag busted all over the dress. Now it's just, her dress is covered in this, spoiled food. And so Sadie kind of like tries to get away, like she's got to get home and get changed, whatever. She just kind of walks off. And then the part that makes you mad is the little blonde bitch, Natalie is her name. Natalie, it just came. Natalie is her name. Natalie, little blonde bitch, is laughing while this is going on. And I'm sitting there like, instantly I'm watching this, and you feel yourself get pissed off. You get a little mad because you're like, damn it, bitch, this girl just lost her mother. Come back to school, having to deal with everything. And then you're going to make some little shitty ass comments towards her about her fucking dress. And then you're going to push her, fuck up the dress of her mother's. And then you're going to laugh when she walks off. Like, and FYI, people, there's certain times in horror movies where them certain people that you just want them to get fucked up and killed. Unfortunately, in this one, little blonde bitch Natalie will not get fucked up and killed. Just a little FYI. Unfortunately, because when you see it and you hear her, in your mind you will go, I want that bitch to die. She doesn't, but hey, that's okay. Moving on. So Dad, while they're at school, Dad's in his office. Dad's in his office with he's like doing some stuff right in his little office. Well, somebody shows up at his door of his office. Like, I don't know how his house is locked down. I don't know how his house is secure, but the office is in the house. But this dude is like at his door. And I'm sitting there going, when I first see him, I'm like, how the fuck you get in the house? But he's at his door. And the dad kind of looks at him and he's kind of like, hey, you got to have an appointment type shit. And, but the dad, understanding nice guy, I don't remember. I think the dad's name is Will. Yeah, Will is the dad's name. And so Will, being the nice guy that he is, he's like, hey, I got a free hour, come on in, we'll talk. And so Lester is the name of the dude that shows up. And when Lester first sits down, Lester's kind of looking around the room and he looks over there and there's a closet. The closet is cracked open. Lester does not feel comfortable right now. And he asks Will, hey, can you shut that door? Can you shut that closet? So he, of course, Will shuts the door. But then Lester starts talking to him. And Lester's telling him that apparently he's Catholic. And he said, I can't go to the Catholic church with this. He's like, I've killed my daughter. They think I've killed my daughters. And I'm like, but apparently he said like his first daughter died of SIDS. I know there's a meaning to that word. I don't really fucking know it. I know people do know it. I just didn't take time to Google it. I've heard of it though. But so the first daughter died from SIDS, but apparently he had 3. His next 2 kids died within a year after this. And he's telling Will, the dad, the therapist, all this. And somehow I think was it like natural causes, what he asked. And then like Lester was like, no, it was not natural causes, and he says that he has seen a glimpse of it. And then he said he's seen a glimpse of it before his daughter's neck broke. So I don't really know. He don't really go into much like the first time he sees it. But then he pulls out this little notepad, like a little school drawing pad, notepad or whatever. And he says, he gives Will a drawing. He's like, this is what his daughters drew. And he's looking at it, and it doesn't show it to you at the time, but then Will's looking at it, and he's like asking the dad, like Lester, he's like, hey, what is this? And Lester tells him, it's the thing that comes for your kids when you're not paying attention. And so Will thinks some shit's kind of fishy right now. This dad just admitted and talked about his 2 kids dying. And so Will's like, I need to go to the bathroom. I got to step out. Will steps out, goes to the kitchen. I knew as soon as Will stepped out, Will was going to get on the phone, 911 to the PO, to the popo. He goes to the kitchen. When he walks out to go to the kitchen, Lester's sitting on the couch, still in the office. Lester looks over, and the closet that was supposed to be closed is now open a little bit. So Lester's like looking at it, and I'm like, oh, that's that fucking closet. That closet's back open. And so Will's out in the kitchen making a phone call. He hears a little noise behind him. He's on the phone saying he's got this guy threatening. He thinks he may have done something type shit. So while he's doing this on the phone, the camera kind of goes around. But then you see something going upstairs. But then I think, because it shows a backpack hanging on the stairway, the railing. And I was like, oh, that must be Sadie coming home because she got that fucked up shit all over her dress. So it shows Sadie upstairs. It's like she has changed clothes. She got like a hoodie and stuff on. She's going to the wash machine to put Mom's dress in there to get it cleaned up. Now, while she's at the washer, she stands up to closes the washer door. Well, you see Lester. Apparently, Lester had made his way up the stairs. So Sadie's going back to her room. Sadie doesn't see him. I don't know if he walked off or whatever. Sadie doesn't see him. Goes back to her room. As she's going into her room, she hears a little noise. She hears something outside of her damn door. She walks down the hallway. And she's walking down the hallway, and she comes to a room that I don't know if it was like I think it was like her mom's art room, like where she did her paintings and all that stuff. I think that's what it was. Because she gets there, when she walks up to it, she steps in something. And I thought it was blood the first time I seen it. I was like, oh shit, she's stepping in blood. And she falls on the floor. When she looks over at it, it's not red, it's like mixed colors. And so she like pushes the door open, goes in there, and it's like mom's big art room. Well, apparently there was some cans of paint that had been knocked over and that shit was spilling on the floor. Well, it's that picture earlier on in the movie that was of her and the family is on the floor now, but there's like a triangle piece cut out, and it is the mother picture part of that painting is cut out, laying off to the side. As Sadie's looking at it, she's hearing a little struggle noise in another room that is attached to mom's art room. She's hearing some struggling. Well, she finds like this, like it looked like a box cutter type thing laid on the floor. So she goes over there. She thinks it's her dad. Maybe it's just she's calling for her dad, kind of like not yelling, but like dad. Like she's thinking he may be up there. Because I don't think dad realizes at this time that Sadie's back home to like change her clothes. And so when she opens up the door, she goes in there because she's hearing this. It's not this, it's like a fight going on in there. You hear a lot of stuff rustling around. She pushes open the door, she walks in. Well, the next thing you know, dad comes running into the room. Because I think that moment, dad had realized that Lester is no longer downstairs. So, and with a name like Lester, you knew where his fucking mind went. Lester the molester, baby. Dad's probably thinking like this motherfucker is somewhere in my house right now, sniffing my daughter's underwear or some shit like that. So dad's coming up there. He busts in there, and when he comes there and grabs her and like hugs her, stuff like that. Well, the door closes, and as the door closes, you see fucking Lester hanging dead, and it looked like a suicide type thing. So they have to, of course, call 911. Got a dead man in the house. And this is another little part that kind of hit me. It bugged me a little bit. As this is going on, the little daughter Sawyer is on her way home from school. Sawyer's on the school bus. School bus is rolling up through the neighborhood. I grew up riding a school bus. Most of the time there was like a neutral point. They would stop at, everybody get off the bus. And I think that's what the way this one was, because they're driving by the house and they see there's police cars out there and ambulances. And you got Sawyer, the little girl, looking out the window as she's driving by the house, I guess, to get to the actual bus stop. And they see the ambulance, you see the police car and shit. And then little girl on the bus, sitting right next to fucking Sawyer, looks over at it and go, man, I hope your dad isn't dead also. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like, mean ass fucking kids. Like this little girl, and like I said, couldn't have been no more than 8, 9, maybe. And I was just like, man, I felt bad for the kid on the bus. Like, you don't think your dad's dead also? The fuck out of here. So the cops, of course, in the house, they're questioning the dad. The dad's trying to tell him what he knows. But when Sadie tries to tell the police lady, she was like, well, she was hearing some stuff in the room. What if it was this? What if it was that? And, they just kind of make her feel better, trying to talk to her and be like, well, that's just kind of plays it off to her. But the whole time, Sadie kind of knows something ain't quite right. Like she's thinking maybe he didn't kill himself. There was some noises that just didn't sound right. And so as this thing goes on to where we start, this is where we're about to get a little bit of introduction to the Boogeyman. We got Sawyer going to bed. And she's having dad upstairs, of course, how, I feel there's dad that probably had to do it like, daddy, look under the bed and all this good shit. She got to ask him to look under the bed. Then she's like, I need you to look in the closet. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, like, she focused on the closet. Like it's something, she's like, Sawyer's got a feeling. It's like the little kids know sometimes. Like they just know. And so she's kind of looking at this closet. So dad checks the closet, said everything's good. And so then it shows Sadie at one point. Sadie is in a room and she's like something with her. I think she still had like some old mess. The last message on her phone that she had tried to send her mom before she realized had passed away. And Sadie's in the room, and you notice Sadie looks up, and she's like this moldy looking shit on the ceiling. And Dad walks in, talking to her, and you can tell Sadie is needing to talk to somebody. And she tries to open up to her dad, and then her dad fucking cuts her off. And he was just like, he basically, I forget the doctor's name. He's like, aren't you seeing Dr. So-and-so tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, maybe you should talk to her about this. And I'm like talking to myself. I'm like, come on, dad. Like, you're a therapist. She just wants to talk to you. Like, she's trying to be, talk. And like, nope. He just kind of walks out, leaves her hanging. He goes out there, and apparently, I guess the wash machine was still beeping from whenever she had put her clothes in there. He walks over there, sees the dress that she had put in there. And so then we got a little girl Sawyer's in the bed. And she's got a little globe nightlight once again. She's trying to go to sleep. Well, this fucking closet door bust open. Like, her closet, like, it bust open. Like, not a creaky little, like, not that shit. No, this thing flies open. She wakes up, and she looks over the closet. The closet starts closing, and something came out of the closet. Well, then the closet starts closing. And trust me, when that closet popped open the first time, it got me. Okay, I did a little jump. So the door swings open, and while she's looking around, the door starts closing again, like it's closing. Well, then, sometimes like when somebody like kick a door open, that's what it did. It like flew back open again. And I'm just like, Sawyer, fucking run. Like, get out, like, run. But Sawyer doesn't. Sawyer looks under, she takes a little globe light, she sets it on the floor, and she's looking under the bed. And she's looking, and she don't see nothing. But then it shows a little, like, she's looking in the corner of, like, under her bed, like toward the other side of the bed. Like, maybe her bed was kind of up against the wall or something, like back in that corner. And you just instantly know, like, something just creepy about that. Like, if your bed's up against the wall, and if you're looking under that back corner, like, nothing good goes on back there in that little back corner against the wall, people. So Sawyer's got a little ball, her little light up ball. And so as I'm watching it, I'm going, oh, she's going to roll that ball to light it up over there. She rolls the ball. When she rolls this ball, something's there, because it fucking slaps at it and makes a little screechy type sound. Got me again, kudos to you. And so that was a good oh shit scare. That's exactly what came out of my mouth when it happened. It was like, oh shit. Hold on one second. You hear the ice clinking, you know what's coming. Gentleman and Jack break, thank you. So this is kind of like when Sawyer knows some shit's going down. She knows something's going on. Well, we got Sadie is up in her room. Sadie is on YouTube. Listen like a medium, how to contact the dead, how to talk to the dead from the other side. And they're talking about the whole, like, light a candle, speak to the person, see if they'll bend the flame. And that's what she's trying to do. And so why she likes a candle, and I like, oh, she's about to try to, like, talk to her mom, ask her to, like, bend the flame a certain way. So while she's doing this, Sawyer shows up and basically tells her, like, there's something in my room. But then Sadie just kind of like, oh, you're just having a nightmare. She gets up there to her, and her mouth's bleeding. But she looked at her, and she's got like a loose tooth in her mouth. And she went straight up old school with her. And I've seen it before. I've seen it done before. I don't know how to do it nowadays. I don't know how y'all pull your kids' teeth out nowadays. But back in the day, we had things where you tie a little string around that tooth, and you'd either snatch it, but I have seen it done where it was tied to a doorknob. Like, you got the string to your tooth, string to the doorknob. Slam the door, tooth gonna come flying out. That was the game plan. Went old school with it. I enjoyed that. So she's got the string tied to Sawyer's tooth. She's got it tied to the door. And she's telling Sawyer, Sadie's like, hey, on countdown, 3, 2, whatever. And the door's open at the moment. Well, then as she's talking to her, Sawyer stops and they start talking. But the next thing you know, this door fucking slams shut, like hard as fuck. And that tooth with the string on it comes flying out. And Sawyer's like, Sawyer's got like, I know part of me, I was kind of like, Sawyer thinking like, what the fuck? You said you was counting to 3. The door slams. And she comes running over to fucking to Sawyer. Sadie does, and she's like hugging her, like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I'm going like, "I got it. You're trying to make sure she's okay, but you're accepting this slamming door way too easy. Like you're accepting and like you're okay. Like this door just straight up slammed. It didn't like no, this motherfucker slammed and didn't think twice about that. And so Tooth is out, kudos. So now we got they actually go and see their therapist. They both go in there together. And it's Sadie and Sawyer with the therapist lady. And they're talking to her. And Sadie's asking the therapist about like stuff that happens after you die, type stuff like that. And she mentions like talking to him and contacting him. I forget exactly how the therapist tried to word it, like, kind of like the whole like, oh, they're always with you in your heart, that type of shit. Well, then the little girl Sawyer, she was just kind of like, I forget how she worded it, but she asked about if there was other things, like the whole. She wasn't buying the whole like, oh, there's some they'll be there with you in your heart type shit. Little girl's kind of like, Sawyer's like, well, what if there's other things? And the lady was like, what other things? She's like, dark things. And then the therapist kind of like, well, that's just stuff, when your brain can't process it, it just kind of fills in its blanks and fills in the blanks, and it makes you think you're seeing something that's not really there. So then she goes to do this little training. I don't know if it's training. I don't know what the fuck to call it. She comes and she turns all the lights in. She's got these blinds that blacks out the fucking room. And so everything goes dark. She comes over this little red light. And she basically tells her that this red light is going to flicker off and on to a point to where it's going to go completely out. And it's going to be completely dark. And it's supposed to help you to adjust to like not being scared of the dark. You're seeing that nothing's there as this light goes out. And instantly I was sitting there like, no, let's not fucking do this. Not a good idea. So she starts kind of freaking out when the lights start going dim, because Sawyer knows some shit ain't right. The little girl Sawyer was the smartest one in the whole fucking group. She knew some shit wasn't right. So she's looking at something and she knows. But then Sadie grabs her, she's hugging her, she's kind of like, no, it's nothing's there, there's nothing there. Well, then she looks over there and guess what? There's a closet in the office that's cracked open a little bit. And she's seeing it. And she's like hugging Sadie at the same time. And you see Sawyer look up at the ceiling. Like there's something up there up on the ceiling. So when this light starts flickering, and then this next thing, this thing kind of jumps down at her, and it kind of goes away. The lights come on, they flip the lights on, and there the therapist and fucking Sadie's trying to talk to her like, everything's okay. And I'm sitting there going like, no, the fuck it's not okay. But then they look down, and our girl Sawyer had literally pissed her pants for what she's seen scared her that bad. And then they kind of look at her like, oh no, it's okay. And I'm like, motherfucker, she wasn't scared of the dark, people. There was something there. They're not listening to our girl Sawyers. Like I said, smartest one in the whole fucking movie. So they go back. The therapist is trying to talk to the dad at the end of this little therapy session. Dad kind of like not one. He's not ready. Dad isn't ready to deal with his own demons, with his wife dying. He's not. He a therapist, but I guess because he a therapist, he thinks he don't need therapy or need help. So he kind of blows her off, takes the kids, go home. Well, then Sadie starts getting nosy. Sadie starts looking up this dude, Lester. She comes across him on Facebook. finds his Facebook, sees a picture of his family, wife, couple kids, shit like that. But then she starts getting curious. And we got our girl Sawyer in bed again that night. And kudos to you, Sawyer, for even being willing to sleep in your own fucking bed, because I'd have been like, oh, hell no, not going back in that room ever. But she's in her own bed, but she's under a blanket. Got a blanket pulled over, got a little globe light, feeling safe under her. We did hear the door open up. And I'm thinking, like, oh, fuck, here we go with the boogeyman. But no, you hear Sadie's voice basically asking her, like talking to her, asking her how she is, and she's trying to go to sleep. And then Sawyer straight up, like, I'm just trying not to die. Like, Sawyer knows some shit's going down this fucking house, and ain't nobody else listening to her. And so as she tells her that, she sits up and pulls the cover off of her head. When she pulls the cover, though, Sadie is not there, like nowhere in the room. So this voice of the boogeyman is basically using other people's voices. He can change his voice to sound like whoever he wants to. So when she sits up, Sadie's not there, and she's like looking for Sadie. But Sadie's over there looking up fucking Lester, trying to get some shit on him. So then Sadie goes down, gets nosy, goes into Dad's office, digging around in the trash, finds Lester's address. She finds that. Then she finds the recorder, because in the beginning, when Dad sat down with Lester, he was recording a session. She finds the recorder, starts listening to it. And she also finds the book that Lester had dropped. And before Lester went dead in the house, the book that had the drawing of the dark thing, whatever it was. Well, since she's looking through it, and she comes across, and she could tell a page is missing, and she's hearing on the recording where he says, here's a drawing that my daughter did of this thing. And so she basically grabs the recorder, she grabs the book, and she's listening to it. And the same sound, there's a sound coming from downstairs. So Sawyer is following it. She's hearing some shit. Sawyer knows some shit ain't right. She walks out into the hallway. Hallway's dark as fuck. And I still don't understand in horror movies why we just ain't flipping all the fucking light switches on. Because if that's me, I am sprinting toward a light switch. I'm flipping everything on. So she's coming out down in the hallway, and she's hearing this little giggly, creepy giggling sound. Well, then Sawyer takes her once again. She got her old faithful light up globe. She rolls it down the hallway. It gets in the hallway and kind of runs off to the left, to the right. Well, the next thing you hear this busting sound, like whatever it was busted her fucking light, and then and it eventually rolls back to her. And Sadie took the book, and I know y'all seen it where somebody has written something on a piece of paper, then that page above it gets pulled out, when somebody takes like a pencil and lightly brushes over it, and you can kind of see the outline of what was drawn there on the page before. So she does this, and on the page it shows you the boogeyman, the same shit that little old girl Sawyer was seeing on the ceiling at the therapist's office. That's what's on the drawing. So she's in the kitchen with it, I think, doing all this. And she's listening to the recording. As she's listening to the recording, there was more recorded that apparently the dad hadn't listened to yet. Because in the recording, Sadie is listening to it. He starts yelling like, no, and he's apologizing. He's like apologizing, saying, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I didn't believe you, and he was apologizing because he didn't believe his daughters when they were telling him. And all of a sudden, she's holding a recorder, and like Lester yells, like, get away. And she kind of like throws this thing up in the air and got perfectly good aim, because when she threw this bad boy, it landed in a pitcher of water, like right there next to her almost. Like, should have yelled Kobe when you shot that motherfucker. It went right up in there. But so she's in the kitchen drying this thing off, getting the recorder and all that. And she's got the book in her hand. She's got the recorder. Well, Sawyer comes into the kitchen. This whole time, Sawyer thought it was fucking Sadie down there just fucking pranking her, just fucking with her. So she comes in there in the kitchen pissed off. She's like kicks her, and is like, this isn't funny, whatever. And when she kicks her, Sadie drops the book. But then when she drops the book, it opens up, she sees that page. And she walks up to it, and Sadie asks her, she's like, is this the dark thing? And the little girl's like, yes, that's it. And I'm sitting there talking to myself, I'm like, hell yeah, that's fucking it. That's the one, you know? And so Sadie has to go back to school. And she's talking to her, has to talk to her best friend, Bethany. Basically want Bethany to take her, because Bethany apparently got a car. Bethany drives her. She wants to go see to Lester's house. She has the address. She wants to go to Lester's, see, because apparently this is where it's all originated from. She goes to Lester's house, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. Well, this is where we're going to get into Lester's wife comes into this. When she's in there looking around, there's some creepy shit up in the house. It's nasty. It's fucking nasty. Like, disgusting. But apparently the wife, Rita, Lester's wife, Rita's still in the house. And I won't spoil that for you. That bitch is 40 shades of fucking crazy. But so some shit goes down with Rita. And I ain't gonna spoil it all. I give spoiler. I ain't gonna spoil it all. Some shit goes down at Rita at Lester's place. She goes out, leaves. Her best friend, so-called best friend, Bethany's outside waiting on her. Don't even go up in the house with her. She comes running out. They leave. And Sadie comes home. And when she comes home, she comes in the door, and Sawyer's asking her, like, have you seen it? Have you seen it? And Sadie's yelling at Sawyer, basically telling her, like, monsters aren't real, that you need to grow up. And she, like, slams the door on her, goes into her room, slams the door on her. And I'm sitting there going, like, what the fuck? Well, next thing you know, she turns to the door, and the door gets kicked open, like, fast as fuck. Sadie falls on the ground. When you see something come into the room, and something goes down her throat, like a hand down her throat. And all of a sudden she wakes up. It was a nightmare. She was dreaming. And she wakes up like coughing like crazy and stuff like that. She hears a noise. She goes out of the room, and it's like this scraping noise. And she's hearing something down the hallway. And it was fun. This part was kind of funny to me, because she's walking down the hallway. She's hearing some shit down there at that end of the house. Well, then Sawyer, the little badass girl who knew what the fuck was going on from get-go, she's opened her door, and she looks at her, and the sister's looking at her, and Sawyer's looking at her. And as she's walking, she's telling her, like, Sadie's saying, shh, be quiet. Well, then you hear fucking Sawyer's like, I told you it was real. And then she just fucking shuts her door back. She's like, you're on your own, sis, to deal with this one. I tried to tell you. So she goes back to the same room, basically earlier on, where Lester had killed himself. She goes up in there looking around. Well, the room is empty now. Like, nothing's in the room. It's almost empty. So she sees the light on. I'm like, oh shit, we're back to that same room where Lester had hung himself or killed himself. Didn't really hang. I don't know how he killed himself. But then the door flies open, and it's Dad. Dad Will is boxing up all the fucking mom's shit. And he's basically saying that it was wrong for me to leave all her stuff laying around. This is why your sister's having issues at night. This is why she's seeing things, because I got all this stuff of your mother still laying around. It's not helping her move on. Kind of like that's the reason why. Well, then, Sadie's not happy about this. Like, you should have talked to us about this. This should have been a discussion before you're just going to get rid of mom's shit. And I remember at some point she's talking to him, and she just wants to talk to him. Like, you could tell, like, she just wants somebody to talk to. She wants to, he needs to open up to her type thing, and she needs to open up to him, but it just isn't working. And so he apologizes to her, and she was like, I think we should be able to look through it. He was like, that's fine. Just take it down to the basement. She's going to take it down to the basement. And in like 90% of typical horror movies, you go down to the basement, you flip the fucking light switch. Guess what? Light don't come on. Well, right then, for Jay, my little light goes off in my head, Like, well, the light ain't on, so I'm not fucking going down there. I will set this box at the door. I will shut said door, and we'll deal with that shit tomorrow when it's daylight. But Sadie goes on downstairs and she's looking around. She set some boxes down. She's looking. She sees some stuff and she opens up one, and she was writing keep on like everything. Anything with her mom, she's writing keep on it, which I ain't mad at her. That was her mom's shit. But there's one that said personal. And so she opens it up. She finds like this lighter, this old school lighter, not the little flick the big type shit nowadays. The old school, you got to put like lighter fluid in it. She lights that up, kind of messing with it when she finds this little tin can looking thing. Mommy like to smoke the weed. Mommy liked a little weed every now and then. Ain't mad at her. And she's going through it. So she finds it. She kind of sees it. She's holding on to the lighter. But then she comes across this one that's got a video recorder in it. And the video recorder's got a video of her mom and her when she was a baby. Her mom singing her this little lullaby song. And so while she's sitting there, she likes the lighter again. And she's wanting to do the whole like, hey mom, I'm asking you for help. Can you just bend the flame to the left? She's asking her to bend the flame to the left. She needs some help. But then the boogeyman is down there, is making a little voice and using like her mom's, that little singing voice type, that little melody she was using. Sadie starts walking, and she sees a figure off in the corner. And I instantly thought, is that her mother's figure? Because it didn't have like a scary figure. You see like an outline, kind of like a woman. But then when she flipped on this light, it had like a quick flash of the mom's face. And then she like, tucked tail out of the basement. So we're gonna jump forward a little bit for this. I don't want to go into all the details of it. But at some point you're going to get the Sadie and her friend Bethany basically talks about how they don't hang out anymore, not since mom's funeral. Bethany's gonna be like, hey, why don't we hang out this weekend? I thought maybe they would hang out just her and Bethany. No, they decided to have a hangout at Sadie's house with that whole little group, even the little blonde bitch, Natalie. Like, they all come over there to kind of like, we're supposed to like spend the night. Well, some shit goes down there in the house. And once again, you will hate blonde bitch Natalie. And unfortunately, nothing bad happens to her. But some shit goes down in the house. Sadie sees some stuff, friends bail, the so-called BFF Bethany don't even hang around, to take care of her so-called best friend. She just straight up runs off with the rest of the fucking little bitches. But so they're God, I don't want to get into the end because this is where it really ramps up toward the end of it, to where, the boogeyman really gonna make itself known. And he gonna go after our girl Sawyer. He goes after Sawyer, and some whole shit goes down where dad's not wanting to accept it, not listening, where Sadie has to take shit into her own hands, and her and her dad have a little falling out. Well, then our girl Rita, who was Lester's wife, the crazy bitch, who said she had a way to kill it, she had a plan. She calls up Sadie. Sadie decides she's going to go over to Rita's. Rita's got this little badass booby trap set up to try to catch the boogeyman and kill it. She had a plan, booby trap. And Sadie, unfortunately, had to be part of the plan to do this. So that all goes down. Some shit goes down with, back at the house, and this is where they really have to like, it's them and the boogeyman now. And so, God, I'm not going to go into the ending of it. I said I was going to spoil it, but I know some people, they listen to this and they don't go and watch the movie. They listen to this. And so I don't want to spoil it. Just know that the shit goes down with the boogeyman, and Sadie goes fucking hard. Sawyer goes fucking hard. They put up a fucking good ass fight. And yeah, and the coolest part of it all to me, toward the end of it. Hold on one second. Let me get me a little gentleman jack before we do this. Toward the end of it, best part. The whole little bending of the flame that will come into play toward the end of it. And as soon as that part happened, I was just like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, mama's always going to be there. No matter what, mama's going to be there. So that was a pretty badass fucking part for me. I like that. So yeah, I don't want to go. I'm not going to go into the end of it. But I will get into, I usually talk about the kills and all that and the cast and stuff like that. The cast for this was really good. I was a fan of like I said, the older daughter she plays in that TV show Yellow Jackets. The younger daughter played in that Obi-Wan Kenobi type, there's a book type. I don't remember exactly, but they all did very well. Very good. I didn't dislike none of them. I dislike Natalie the blonde bitch because you were supposed to dislike her. That's what she was there for. You were supposed to hate her. And but good stuff at the toward the end, you really get to see the boogeyman of what this thing is. And when it shows it, and it's fucking creepy as fuck. Like, it was, everything about it was creepy. When it gives a close up of its face and does this whole thing toward the end, you'll see it, right before fucking Sadie and Sawyer just start, they get to the point where they ain't taking this shit no more, and they go in with the damn boogeyman. But so that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna spoil the very ending of it, but I am going to get into my ratings. I'm going to get into this one, and so we're going to. For me, this is a Mary, people. I fucking love this movie. I right from the get go, it had me. As bad as it sounds, as soon as baby Annie got, Boogeyman got her, it had me. I was following it, I was in it, and it had some good ass jump scares in it. It made me feel, I remember being young and hearing the phrase boogeyman. I remember, I've had moments when I was younger that I can remember. Like on a couple episodes back, I talked about poltergeist, that creepy ass tree outside the window, just certain things. I remember being young, and you could be in your bed at nighttime and it be dark and you stare at something long enough. And you could almost like there's something there. And it made you feel it, like you felt that when Sawyer was in her bed and she's looking at that closet, and just that part where that rolls that ball under the bed. Like, I jumped. I ain't gonna lie. That made me jump. And I enjoyed everything about this movie. I enjoyed that it wasn't it wasn't a bloody type massacre slasher type thing. It wasn't. It was just that creepy, not knowing the little sounds that it would make, the little how it would sing, the little nursery, the little sleeping song that the mom sang. Just everything about the boogeyman was creepy. And the ending was awesome. The ending was just, this family fought Sawyer and Sadie. And then even mom, like I said, bending of the flame toward the end of it. You're like, oh fuck yeah, mom's got you back always. So this is a Mary for me. I will watch this again. It's not one of those that, certain movies you watch and it's predictable after you watch it one time, you just don't want to see it again. It's every now and then. No, this one was enjoyable. I can't wait to watch it again. But yeah, that's going to be Boogeyman 2023. I will say this, after the title rolls, at the end of them, the titles start rolling. They end it with a great song. The great Burning Love. It's an older song. You have to watch it to get to the end, listen to it. It's such a happy kind of just go lucky song at the end of it. It was like, really? Like when you hear it, like, really? But then you listen to it like, oh, okay, I like this. Hunka Burning Love. And which makes sense if you watch it and get to the very end of it. You see why Burning Love makes sense. But that's going to do it for this episode of Fright Flick FMK, the Boogeyman 2023. I recommend it, highly recommend it. I enjoyed it. I want to know what you think. I want to know how you would rate it. Is this a fuck, a marry, or kill for you? Swing by in the comments, social media, anywhere. Let me know if you stop by and listen. Give us a review. Whatever your review may be, 5-star, 1-star. It is what it is. But I had a good time watching this one. I had a lot of fun, and I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I better go back and watch it anytime I want to. But if you can, if you get a chance, definitely go check out Boogeyman 2023 and let me know how you feel about it. But hey, it's a good old fashioned Mary here, and can't wait to watch it again. So we've reached the time of that episode, family, where you hear it clinging. That's it. Hold on one second. It's my gentleman Jack break. This is that part of the episode. I need you all to gather up your shit. I need you to grab your drink, put your chairs away, and get the fuck out of here. A huge thank you goes out to the associate producers of the show, Kris Owen, Gregory Barry, Beth Davis, and Dylan Matt. The producers, Dave Jarry and Juliane des Ormeaux.